Left is, yeah.
Okay, so guys, welcome to this
Yes, yes.
session on the first session on the machine learning part of the course. Today is the introductory session of this part of the course, which is machine learning. So in today's session, we'll be looking at what is machine learning, why it is important, how can we perform a machine learning on any data set or any problem, how can I use machine learning to solve a problem. Okay, so the flow for today's session is like that. I'll be going through a presentation and I will also try to show you some live examples or some demos, some infographics, which can help you understand the concept of machine learning or an overview of machine learning in a better way, right? So uh, the first question that we need to answer is what is machine learning, right? So the presently in this session, we'll be looking at what is machine learning, differences between supervised and unsupervised learning. There are majorly two types of machine learning: supervised and unsupervised. What is supervised machine learning? How can I evaluate the performance? What is overfitting? All that we'll be looking into the next sessions. But today will be a general introduction. Right. So machine learning is a method of data analysis that automates analytical model building. Okay. So there are a lot of terminologies here, but to put it in simple terms, machine learning is learning from examples like a human can learn. Okay. So when we were all kids, our parents or our teachers used to show us examples in books: B for ball, C for cat, this is a dog, C that is a monkey, C that is a car. So like that, we are giving you some cues. We are showing you something, and we are telling you, okay, this thing is called a dog, this thing is called a car, this thing is called a chair. So the as human kids are given some examples, and based on that they learn from themselves, right? So you have not seen all the categories, all the species of monkeys, but all of us can easily make out, okay, this thing is a monkey, this thing is a dog, right? Based on those features, based on those pictures, based on the National Geographic and Discovery videos that we have seen, and maybe real monkeys that we have seen in our lives. So nobody taught us the exact definition of what is a monkey. It is what are the different organs. It has four legs. It has a tail. We also know this, but to understand to identify what is a monkey and what is not a monkey, just a picture is enough, right? So similarly, when we apply the same concept for a machine, for a system, or for a computer program or a software, where we are not explicitly writing every line of code, we are not explicitly writing or writing a if else or a for loop for each and every condition that may happen, right? But we are allowing the system or the software to learn from the previous examples by itself, find the figure out patterns. Okay, so if I show you two close pictures of a monkey and a cat, you can easily tell, okay, yes, this is a cat and this is a monkey. But if you show the same picture to some person who has never seen a cat, then he might get confused. He can say 100% surety that this picture is of a monkey, but I'm not sure about what the other animal is. Okay, so this is what in general machine learning is. Using machine learning using algorithms that iteratively learn from data, machine learning allows computers to find hidden insights without being explicitly programmed. So here, by explicitly programmed, we mean that we need not to write each and every condition in a if else loop or a, okay, so if this thing happens, do this, if this thing happens, do this, if this thing happens, do this. I cannot so like while driving, so you cannot program the process of driving by using if else loop or generic mainstream programs or logic, right? Because you cannot. So if it is a red light, you stop, this is fine, but when to take a right turn, when to overtake or not, should I stop now, should I slow the speed now, when I'm turning, what should be my speed? All that comes with experience and differs. So for the same person, for the same bike, for the same route that he takes every day, his speed can be different, his riding behavior can be different. We cannot program that. Okay, so that's where machine learning comes into picture. Okay, right. So what is it is used for? There are a lot of applications: fraud detection, web research results. So whatever you are talking about in whatever you are chatting about, whatever you are searching in Google, you get ads related to your searches that you do. Okay, and real-time ads on the web. Credit scoring. Credit scoring means like depending on your expenditure or your spending behavior, you are given how much a loan you can take, right? So prediction of equipment failure. So when it applies to a mechanical system or a plant, I can, based on the previous data, we can certainly plan about, okay, which equipment is going to fail next, when should I plan maintenance activity. Okay, new pricing models. Okay, now, so if you have noticed, for the last 10 years, the prices of laptops has not come down. In fact, it keeps on going up, right? But there is a huge drastic change in the prices of phones. So I don't know why, but instead of laptops becoming cheaper, they are becoming costlier. But on the other hand, mobile phones are becoming cheaper and cheaper, right? So how can I devise a new pricing model with this dynamic market changes? Right, network intrusion detection, recommendation engine. So on YouTube, whatever you watch, you get a recommendation on the next what to watch next. Customer segmentation, right? So Amazon, Myntra, all these are giving us individual coupons based on our purchase history and purchase behavior, right? Pattern and image recognition, it's a very big field in itself. And email spam filter, right? We will see this example while discussing some of the algorithms. Okay, so what are neural networks? So neural networks are just one way or one technique in which the algorithm tries to mimic a human brain connection. And so in our brains, we have neurons to transfer electrical impulses, which are essentially messages or informations that are processed by the brain. So they travel through our brain to our body in forms of electrical impulses. Through neurons. So each unit is called a neuron. So when I connect a lot of them, they make a neural network. And when I make it in a programmatically, it becomes an artificial neural network. Okay, or a way of modeling biological neuron systems mathematically. These networks can then be used to solve tasks that many other types of algorithms cannot do. Okay, so just like a human brain is so intelligent in remembering names and remembering people's faces, remembering smells. Okay, so a child is very small before even started speaking. He starts to understand like who is his father, who is his mother, who so like whenever you take a new kid in your lap for the first time, he will cry because he does not know you. But whenever as soon as her parents or its parents take him, he stops crying. So the brain is very advanced. So when we try to mimic the same brain activity mathematically, the structure is called neural network. Okay, and deep learning is simply refers to neural networks with more than one hidden layer. So a neural network is essentially a network of neurons, so a lot of nodes connected with each other. One side I am getting input and putting input, and on the other side I'm getting an output. It's like a network. So when this network becomes dense, there are a lot of layers and it becomes big, we call it deep learning. Okay, it's just a subset of machine learning, right? So we'll be looking at supervised learning and supervised learning, but before that I want to show you some examples. Right. So suppose I think I have shown you this. So there is a website called Teachable Machine. It's a project from Google. Okay, which can show you, which you can do some image project or an audio project or a pose project directly inside the browser. Okay, it's just an example. So let me show you this example. So so I'm doing an image recognition project, right? So it's like I want to identify my hand with my face, right? So I want to create a model, or I want to predict, I want to write a smart algorithm which should tell me like whether this is me or my hand, right? So let me define the classes. So these are the two classes. Okay, class means what category my output should be. So I'm just using maybe write it my hand, right? And then I should give webcam images, right? Yeah, okay. So this is me, and I need to give it my hand images. So I should get out of the picture, right? And I will give it my hand, right? I'll just give it multiple pictures from different poses so that it is right. So I'm giving it sample examples, right? So I've given it around 96 images, which contains my hand. And these are like examples which will be used by this model to learn what is contained in this picture, right? So what I'm giving is this pictures, all these 96 pictures are called hand, right? And next picture is giving, I'm giving me, right? Then if I use webcam now, this is me. Okay, so if I provide multiple pictures of me from different angles, then it should recognize. So I have given 116 image samples, and I'm telling this computer or this algorithm that this thing is me. So it is like teaching a kid that that this thing is a dog, this thing is a donkey, this thing is a car, right? So now I'm giving just these two sample examples. So I'm giving you these images and a label. So there are 96 hand images, there are 116 me images, and now I'm training the model. So training the model is based on these images, algorithm is trying to learn. I hope you are able to see the screen, right? Because I have shared the complete screen.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so I think I guess we have seen this before also, but let's go through this once we are.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. So it is training and it is doing epochs 0 by 50. So it is kind of revision, right? Once I am learned something, I will do revision first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. So by default, it is doing 50 times. You can increase this revision to increase the accuracy. But for this, because it's a smaller application, I'm just putting 96 images. So basically for humans, I think just one image is enough. If I give you just one image of hand and one image of person, so model is trained, right? See, now if I am in the scene, then it is showing me. See, me is 100%. If my hand is in the picture, it shows hand, right? If I switch, this thing is also switching. Okay, so you see the output is switching as soon as I am switching, right? So it's pretty good. Now it is getting somewhat confused because see my face got dark because of the light conditions. Maybe just try to increase the brightness a bit. Yeah, so now it is 100% me, and if I put my hand, now it is my hand, right? So now within just few seconds I made this a simple algorithm to learn, detect my hand and where is me, right? So there are still some glitches. So if I don't put anything, it will show hand. So basically it is trying to capture whatever is there in the image. So if you notice, there's this, my background is constant for both the pictures. So the only way to differentiate that whether it is me or my hand logically is like if there is something, this thing is present, or this bulk of my face is present in the picture, right? So but it is also understanding, learning the background. So if I just remove and don't put anything, it is showing hand. So it is actually wrong, but if I put a hand, then it is correct, right? So it's a simple model that we have built in the browser itself. Okay, so now let me just switch over to the next example. So this is one example where we are teaching an algorithm to understand between the different classes of an object. Just I'll show you a picture and my algorithm should tell me what object, what is there in the picture. It can tell me how many objects are there and where it is in the picture, right? Top right corner, or I can make a bounding box, all that. Okay, so let me show an example on which I am working on presently, right? So it's object detection by mobile. It's a neural network which is open source and available for everyone. It is called MobileNet, and I'm running this, so you should be able to. Yeah, so it is showing me as a person, right? So this thing is it is capturing and it is saying the person is here, it is moving, it is giving me a bounding box. Now if I put my mobile in the screen, it is detecting the mobile phone, right? So it is getting wrong sometimes. It is saying knife now and maybe like a mobile phone right now. If I open the, yeah, so it is cell phone, right? And if I just show around my house, then it will should detect other things also. So this thing is a TV, right? And potted plant, right? So all these objects are being detected. So how this thing happened? So if I give this book, okay, yeah, should come back a bit. Yeah, book, right? See, it is book. Yeah, it is. Now if I put remote, then it will also detect the remote itself. So if I put now remote over here, it should detect a remote. The lighting quality is very poor, and the only person is being detected. Let me put like this: scissors, knife, something is coming up, right? So the idea here is that the way the people who created this library, how did they start, right? So they started very simply. They took random pictures, just like that teachable machine, right? So they took pictures and they drew over them some rectangles. It's a person, it's a person, it's a person, it's a chair, it's a chair. So they took so this present data set, the ImageNet can detect up to 91 objects. Okay, so if you want to see what are the objects, so these are all the objects, which let me just increase the size a bit. Yeah, so all these are all the objects that my ImageNet can detect: tennis ball, bottle, plate, handbag, tie, horse, boat, truck, train, bus, car, bicycle, person. Okay, so all these are the objects which this model particularly can detect. Now, the way of doing is that we have not written any program, or the developer did not wrote any program, but he took multiple pictures, thousands and thousands of pictures of these containing these objects. Then he or his team manually annotated those pictures, right? So let me just show you. Maybe I should open this camera. Right now, if I take, yeah, so this is my, so now if I take a print screen of this, right? If I take a, okay, light quality is very bad. Yeah, now it is again going back to bed. Yeah, cool. So okay, so if I take a print screen here and I open Paint, right, and I let me just close this. Now I control V over here. Then see, so this thing is done by default by the camera, but let's take a picture where this rectangle is not there. So like the camera is doing the same thing, right? So it is anyway detecting my face. Yeah, correct. I'll just take, yeah, suppose this picture. Oh shit, it came back again. Okay, so basically this is my face, right? So what he did was he just took these lots and lots of images like this, where the person is there, any other object is there, and I am just putting it, drawing it in a rectangle over it, right, like this. And the program is written which takes these coordinates in the screen. So if you take pencil, and if I put my hover my pencil here, you should look at this part of the screen, the bottom left part. You will get the pixel location XY 522 377. This point is what? 848 799. Then for each and every image, the program is recording what were the positions of this rectangle and what was the label. I'm writing over, writing here is as person. So I'm tagging this thing as person. Now next I'm tagging this thing as maybe a portrait. Tagging this thing as maybe a tube light, right? So all these objects from each and every image is being stored with their corresponding label. And then based on these images, just like the algorithm learned to differentiate or to understand that this is a hand and this is a me. Similarly, based on these multiple thousands and thousands of pictures where these bounding boxes are manually drawn and the label was given, label means the name of that particular object is given manually, the algorithm can learn itself to identify newer scenes. So this scene, this picture, the computer has seen because I've given it pictures for learning. Now, after making it work, I can take this algorithm to anywhere else, any place which it has not seen before. There also, it should be able to detect some objects with some level of confidence. Okay, so you cannot be 100% sure. It will give you confidence 55% it's a person, 38% it's a chair, like that. Okay, so this is a general process of machine learning, or when it is applied to computer vision. Okay, working with images. Now what I want to share another project. How? Okay, yeah, cool. So now we were just talking about this hand, detecting hand and faces. So let's run this thing also. I hope it should work, because so this thing is another library, Mediapipe library from Google, which is also a object detection library on mobile phones. So it's a library open source which provides detected objects and lots and lots of other things also. And you can run this on a mobile. So the ultimate point is it's very lightweight. Okay, so it's already working. Yeah. So see, if I put my hand, it draws something over it. So it was running in the background. I could not see it, right? So if I put my hand in any way, I can detect. So it can detect two hands also, but it will draw only on one based on my requirement, right? So I can detect any symbols that I want. I can make anything. Okay, so you want to make a gesture like thing. So this thing, so if my all my points are like this can mean something. If I do like this should mean something. So if my hand is like this, I can count fingers. I can use a sign language project, whatever we want, right? So my hand is being detected all the while throughout the screen. If I go further back, see, now my hand is almost, yeah, till here it is being detected in all the different angles, different shapes. So this Mediapipe system has been trained on 35,000 images. So let me just open it for you. This is Mediapipe. Mediapipe, sorry, the spelling mistake. So it's a live ML everywhere. So the ultimate goal is it can provide face detection, face mesh, iris, hands. So hands I have used it. You can do it same thing for the pose. Okay, you can get an object around to detect an object in 3D space. right? So it's very nice library or an open source project which can be used by everyone, right? So all it is doing is it is detecting my hand based on some of the previous examples on which it was trained on. Now it is open. So once, like, you know how to drive a bike, how to drive a cycle, you can go anywhere and you can almost drive any bike or any cycle. You need not to just go through the learning process each and again every time for every new cycle you want to try, right? Same thing is for with an algorithm. You train it once it has learned and it has learned something and it has reached up to a certain accuracy, then you can just directly reuse it anywhere else you want. Okay, so this is one example. I showed you hands. Now next I want to show you uh, I guess, yeah. So now let's look at machine learning in a more theoretical concept. Okay, let me just do, yeah. Okay, so here what this, yeah, so this thing we have already seen before, I guess. So this is ML playground. Okay, let me share the screen again. Yeah, so this thing is also or you can try this on our website. It's called machine learning playground. So here it will teach us with simple examples what machine learning tries to do, right? So suppose ultimately you are trying to, so based on the images, same thing we are discussing. Suppose based on images you want to differentiate, so you are taking you are mm, so you are a farmer, you have a lot of cattle with you, and based on their height and weight you want to figure out, differentiate whether it's a dog or it's a buffalo or a cow. So buffalo or cow, we will think them as same because height and weight wise they both are same. So on my x-axis is the height of the animal, on my y-axis is the weight of the animal. So if I take the first animal, it looks like this. The height is this, weight is this, height is this, weight is this. I'm plotting this on a plot. I'm taking the animal and just plotting them, right? So this is what my observation is, right? Like this. So I am intentionally making some blue and some orange because I know there are only two classes in which I want to differentiate, and I know from common sense that so we are just reverse engineering this problem. So I know presently that my data will be clustered in these two ways because dogs are smaller in height and have less weight, and the cattle, you can say buffalo or a cow, they have more weight and they have more height also. So my data will be looking like this I know, you know, as humans we know, but for an algorithm they do not know. So for an algorithm all these are just data points with different labels. So orange ones means dogs and these data points are correspond to cattle. Now I want to differentiate. Can you come up with a formula where you can say that if height, based on the given the height and weight, you should be able to tell what so based on, maybe I can just do select all and delete. Yeah, so based on, so I want you to come up with a formula where based on the height and weight, so this thing is height, this thing is weight, right? So based on the height and weight of these animals, so these are green ones are normal dogs. I'm just just to differentiate, I'm putting different colors. So based on the height and weight, can you tell me which class it should belong, right? So my inputs are going to be height and weight, or what is my output should be whether it's a cat or dog. So whether it's a cat or dog, right? So ultimately I want to figure these things out. Sorry, not cat or dogs. Where is a cow or a dog? Okay, cow or a dog. So based on this thing, can I differentiate between the different animals? So one thing is that I can come up with a policy, or I can come up with a formula like this, maybe like this. So if the height is more, if height is more than this, not sure, we should not take the green color again and again. Yeah, so I can come up with the policy like this. So if my height is more than this particular height, and so just this is my formula, right? So if height is more than this thing, you can say h naught, is height is more than h naught, then class category is equal to cow, else dog. So this is all, this can also work, right? But this is of course this cannot be a perfect solution, because what about us if a dog is lying here or if a cow is lying over here? So they will get misclassified. Okay, So the best way to do is that we can use different kind of machine learning techniques to tell me what is the decision boundary is. So here it is clear that there will be a line passing through here, which can differentiate these two classes separately, or it can be a slant line from here or here, or so we can define a decision boundary, or there is a boundary which is visible between these two groups of data points, right? So let's try with k nearest neighbor. So k nearest neighbors is whatever your neighbor is, we will you belong to that particular class, right? Suppose you have 5 neighbors, three of them are rich, two of them are poor, so we will classify you as rich, right? Suppose you have you can say friends. So in your friends, it is said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. So basically we can take the 5 people you spend most of the time with, we can analyze their behavior, their liking and disliking, and and your behavior can be the average, is almost the average of all those behaviors, right? If they like friends, they like Big Bang Theory, and they are a football fan, and they all like to eat South Indian, then we can very well say that you are also a fan of South Indian food, and you also like the same sports, right? So let's try k nearest neighbor. Let's train it based on this example, and this is what, see, in just within a fraction of second, that k nearest neighbor algorithm has given us a boundary. So if you lie in this region, you belong to cow or buffalo, and if you lie in this skin color region, you belong to dog class. So this is what the algorithm has learned by itself. Now let's try perceptron. Perceptron is a single neuron. So it gave me a more linear boundary. Okay. Now let's try support vector machine. Okay. So these are all different. So it also gave me a simple line like this. And let's try an artificial neural network with this kind of structure. So X and Y is my input, hidden layer 1, hidden layer 2, my output. My output is going to be 1 only, because there's only one output neuron, because I want to differentiate between two classes. Okay, so either or. So either it is 0 or 1, depending on the class. So I can train it and it can show me the output like this. Yeah, so this thing is giving me a better boundary. Now this point is also included, which was not included in the previous models. Now if I want to give a decision tree, right? So what kind of boundary? So decision tree is giving me this kind of a boundary, right? So all these are different techniques or different approaches to solve the same problem. So in the machine learning part of the course, we'll be looking at all these different kinds of algorithms, and we'll be trying to understand what is the mathematics that goes behind it, where we shall use all these algorithms, which algorithm is best for which kind of data, which algorithm, what are the drawbacks of each of these algorithms, what are the pros or the advantages of each of these algorithms. Okay, so this is what you can go and explore this site. You will get a little introduction of each of these each of these type of machine learning techniques in just down below. You can read from here also, but we will cover everything in the classes. Right now, next I want to show is a neural network playground, right? So this thing is from TensorFlow, again from Google. It's a playground thing where I can decide my input and output. So initially, let's start with this example. So this is my data distribution, which I want to predict using a neural network. Now, these two are my inputs. I have 4 neurons, right? So we can see all this in detail. Just I want just to give you an idea, an overview, what is going inside those algorithms. I'm using this, right? So if I turn it to play, see, I'm getting this boundary very easily. Okay, so now I think it is working fine. So there is almost 0. So it is perfectly able to differentiate between these two classes. Now let me get a little difficult model. So here my data distribution is like this. I don't know what are the classes, but there are 2 classes, orange class and the blue class. Now let's see, can I use the same network to differentiate between these two? See, this plot is showing the loss output. So like so it's slowly it is converging. So it is like the more revision you do, the better you get at something. See, it is close, it is almost becoming better and better and better at detecting. See, the loss is now 0.01, training loss is 0.02. We look at what is training loss, what is test loss, all that we look in detail. These are all machine learning terminologies. Features are x1 and x2. Just like height and weight, the features here are x1 and x2. Okay, now almost I have reached to a very good condition where my model is performing really great. Now let's change the model to a more difficult thing like this one. Now let's try to create the decision boundary for this kind of distribution. You cannot do with a line. You have to make a it has to be a circular boundary around the blue points. So let me run this and see. So see, this is how the boundaries are converging, right? So this is not a two-dimensional data. It's the boundaries has to be three-dimensional here, right? So, but still it is able to perform very nicely. So neural network is just like human brain, can be used to solve multiple problems. Okay, I can change the number of neurons here. I can change the number of hidden layers over here, like this two. Now I have two hidden layers. Now let's see how it performs. So these are all different combinations that I can try out. See, now it is becoming like it is able to detect much more easily with this help of extra neurons. So basically it is trying to figure out based on the multiple examples. Okay, so what is my input? This is my output. What should be the inner line function? Okay, so let me just take back to this page and let me just delete all this. Right, so now if I ask you like this, so I'll give you my input, right? I'll give you my input. I'll give you my output. Right, now you have to tell me the logic, what is going on, right? So my input is 2, my output is 10. My input is 3, my output is 15. My input is 4, my output is 20. Can you tell me what is the logic? So I can say input as X, I can take output as Y. Can you tell me what is this function? Y is equal to function of X. So what should be that? Let me just
3x.
3x. So 2, you are
Sorry,
saying
5x, 5x.
yeah, correct. So
Y is equal to
f of x. Yeah.
f of x equals 5x.
So y is equal to 5x. Here also it is same. Y is equal to 5x. Y is equal to 5x, right? So if I have given you just one example, then you can be confused. Okay, but I gave you 3 examples, you are assured. Okay, 2 5 10, 3 5 15, 4 5 20. Then the underlying logic of, so this thing, suppose this is the output you are getting from some machine. You input something is there, like some block you don't know about. When you enter 2, you get in the output 5. When you enter 4, you get output as 20. So now you figure out that whatever happening inside this is what 5 times x, like this. So now congratulations, all you have just implemented a machine learning algorithm by yourself. This is the complete logic of any machine learning process. I have some input, I have some output, I have to figure out what is going on inside this using just data, right? Now let's take one more example. Remove all this. Now I'll give you maybe, yeah, that's going to, yeah, so this is my input. So we'll call input is called always x, right? So we have x1. Now we will try with 2 inputs, right? And y is called my output. It will remain just one only. You have to figure out what is the function f of x. It's simple. So my x1 is 2 2 6 3 3 this. Now you get 4 7 13. Can you tell me what is the function now? Any logic you try. So here the f of x is f of x, that means y is equal to x1 plus x2 plus 2. Correct? 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6. 3 plus 3 plus 2. No, sorry, 3, 4. Yeah, sorry. This thing is 3 plus 3, 6. It should be 8. Sorry. So I multiply 2 into 2. Yeah. So the logic is 3 plus 3 plus 2, 4 plus 7 plus 2. Right. So this is my function over here. Now based on this input output, so my input now contains 2 values and output is just 1. Right. So it's kind of a there are multiple features. So I can say this y is the amount of rainfall, x1 is humidity, x2 is the temperature throughout the month. Right. So for this month, this was the humidity, this was the temperature, so this was the rainfall. Right. So any data that we can collect from the real world can be put in this form. We have some inputs, we are getting some outputs, we want to figure out what is happening which is producing this result. So we want to figure out what is the f of x, right? That's the whole goal of machine learning. Okay, so based on driving, I will give thousands of videos of driving. Now my computer should tell me if there's a red light, what should I do? If there are 5 cars in front of me, one car is coming from the back, what should I do? Based on the example, it should learn. right? So if I say the something I want to study, like which team is your favorite? So this thing is very vague. I cannot quantify it. I cannot calculate. So on which parameter you can judge, right? Whether you are whether Sachin is better or Ganguly is better, or whether Dosa is better or Maggie is better. So we need, so one thing that we need to keep in mind, like we need whatever features, whatever inputs and outputs I'm giving, these should be observable. We should measure them. Happiness, how happy you are, you cannot measure that. So ultimately we have to use such things which I can measure. Okay, like time, how much time you took to travel, what is the temperature, how much difficulty are you facing. So there are some structures which are defined to collect data in a meaningful way. So ultimately, if I know in detail what this thing means, what this thing means, what this thing means, I can figure out effects using different types of machine learning, right? So the ultimate thing is for, I guess, yeah. So basically I have, so what machine learning will do is should give me so my input, output, right? And using machine learning. So basically this is f of x, which I don't know. So machine learning will help me to figure out f of x by making use of inputs and outputs. Simple. Okay. So machine learning will use input and output to give you f of x for this particular relation. Just that, right? So I think it is going to end in 1 minute. So this is what I want to start today, right? You guys revise everything you have done. Maybe like tomorrow we can start actually with the presentation, and where we can discuss how to start with machine learning, how to different types of machine learning and different algorithms individually. Okay. So
Yes.
right, so let's meet tomorrow same time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
And I request
Sure.
all of you to please finish whatever we have completed till now. NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, database.